This is episode 52 of Zen and the Art of Real Estate Investing with my guest, Craig Curelop. Craig is the founder of the FI team and the author of the house hacking strategy book for Bigger Pockets. He's also all over Bigger Pockets. Craig, welcome to the show.
Jonathan, thanks so much for having me. Is this a weekly show?
It is a weekly show.
Does that make me the 1 year anniversary at 52 weeks?
You are, exactly.
Look at that. I'm honored.
Yeah,
I'm
but
honored.
See, because you know that 52 for a weekly is more important than 50, so...
That's exactly right. I'll take that anniversary.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you are the 1 year anniversary, so congratulations. But no, it's great to have you. Great to meet you. So how did you get your start in real estate? When you were younger, was it something you were interested in, or was it something that you kind of just transitioned to over time?
No, definitely was not on my radar when I was younger. When I first got into kind of the corporate world after college, I realized I didn't like the corporate world. I didn't want to sit behind an Excel spreadsheet for the rest of my life. And I really wanted to figure out passive income. And so at the time I was living in Silicon Valley, and, startups were obviously the kind of what make up Silicon Valley. So I was trying to think of little startup ideas that I could do to have some sort of passive income, or at least some sort of income without having to work like a real job. And I just came up with dumb idea after dumb idea after dumb idea. And until I found real estate, which I found by my landlord at the time. I was living in about a 20-unit apartment complex in San Jose, California. And this little old, Latina lady comes up and just collects a $2,000 check from me and probably 20 plus other people from the units that were living in that complex. And I was just like, dang, this woman just made $40,000 by driving over here once a month. And so that was when I was like, oh my gosh, real estate. And so then I started diving down the path and started doing all this research, found Bigger Pockets. And that was kind of the beginning of my journey.
So over time, do you think that house hacking strategy has changed, or do you feel like the dynamics are still the same in terms of you're just trying to live for free or in positive cash flow on a multifamily?
I think it has changed for sure. I think, if you go way back in the day, people bought duplexes and triplexes and had their own units and rented out the other ones. I think that kind of morphed perhaps when I came out with the book, with more like buying a single family home and renting by the room, because usually the prices are cheaper. You can get more rent, and it's just, it's how you do it in a higher cost of living market. And recently it's been more like Airbnb. So 2021, 2022, Airbnb was kind of off the charts. And now people are like basically buying homes just to Airbnb them. I think that's a fool's errand. I think those guys are going to lose their pants. Personally, I don't think that's real estate investing. I think you're just trying to be cute.
They're currently losing their pants right now because people overbought on the Airbnbs, and there's just too many in a lot of the markets.
Oh, it's super saturated. You've got to pay maybe $100,000 just to furnish the dang place to make it stand out. Right. I literally know a friend of mine who paid $90,000 to furnish their Airbnb, and I'm just like, what are you going to do with this stuff? I don't care if you're making $3,000 a month. It's going to take you 33 years to get that paid back, and it's assuming that nothing breaks. There's nothing better that comes along, and it's like, of course, you're just keeping up with the Joneses, right?
What about mixed use? Mixed use is one of my favorite hybrids because it's the only thing that you can actually house hack that's a commercial product if you have more than 50% residential. That's where I think a really sweet move is for people who are kind of interested, because you can get a little bit of retail and a little bit residential. It's kind of fun like that. Have you thought about that at all?
Yeah, I've looked into some deals like that. They never penciled for me. And now we're not really I guess we're still kind of house hacking. We rent out our basement, but we're in our forever home. It's not, we're in our house. It's no longer like a money play. It's a happiness play. And so, yeah, I mean, I'd be interested in mixed use. I kind of like the unique buildings. I also kind of just like taking a strategy that worked really well in one area and maybe applying it to a different area that hasn't seen it yet. And so in Denver, work by the room works really good. Or rent by the room works really good. And so now we're up in Coeur d'Alene area, northern Idaho, and we're there's people here that, housing's not getting any cheaper, rent's not getting any cheaper. Rent by the room seems to go in the right direction. So we might be looking at some things something to do like that here.
Yeah. Do you find that rent by the room is harder to manage than a traditional multi, or similar?
Oh, it's harder.
Yeah, sharing kitchens, and you're kind of you have to deal with a little bit more complaints, I would think.
Yeah, it's harder, of course. I'm not going to deny that, but you're also going to get probably double the rent,
Yeah.
so you're getting paid for a little bit more work, and it's also like not as risky, right? Like very rarely is nobody in the house, so you never really have like a full vacancy. There's like might be 4/5 of the house
Yeah.
is occupied, and 1/5 is gone, and so it kind of softens that blow a little bit as well. Um, and again, just the numbers work like way better. Like I know in at least in Denver and kind of in Coeur d'Alene, the numbers are very similar. Where it's like a 5 bedroom 2 bath house might rent for I don't know 3 grand, but it might rent for 800 a room, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And so
Yeah.
you're talking an extra $1,000. And it's not that much more work; it's just a little bit more work.
Are you still seeing like where you guys are helping with your team that it's still tough to find a multi right now?
There's just not a lot of multis in our markets. Is really the thing,
Yeah.
and we really like the single family homes with like the mother in law suites. So
Yeah,
you
mother-in-law's
know,
great. I love it.
yeah, so
Yeah.
we'll find one of those and we'll try to lock it up. And those
Yeah.
can be
Yeah.
competitive in our market. I've got a handful of those myself, and again, I feel like that's one of those strategies. Like I didn't hear about it. Like this is one of the things. Like I did make a good amount of money on these properties in this particular area that allows for it. But I was the first one there that I knew of. Right? Like there might have been someone, and then I made it popular. Like I'm the culprit here,
Yeah.
and then it's like it's harder to do because now like everyone sees these basements with kitchens and they're like, oh my gosh. But my first one, I was like, is anyone going to want to live down here? Is it
Yeah.
going to be weird? Like all these questions were going to my head. I literally asked my inspector, like, do you think this is going to work? And he's like, oh, I'm like,
Yeah.
thanks,
Let's
you
try
know.
it. Yeah.
Um, but yeah, that's what you got to do. You got to try it, and if it works, go for it. And if it doesn't, pivot.
Yeah, and one other perk to all of those mother-daughter houses, which I think are fantastic, is that there's so many future home buyers who are going to be practicing intergenerational living that you're having an asset that works differently. A lot of people are looking to live with their parents, or their kids are going to come back home. So having a mother-daughter, which is basically, a separate entrance to another part of the house, can be huge for your future value as well. Have you found that
Mm-hmm.
with yours? I don't know if you traded any of them out, but it's an attractive product on the market for buyers who have parents that are going to live with them.
I can't sell them. They just cash flow so good.
Yeah. Right.
I'm
Right.
like, I'm like, it's hard. Like every one of those cash flows me 2,000 a month, and so
Gotta
or
keep them.
more. And it's like it's hard, like for me to sell those. But if I were to sell them, I know that I could get top dollar for sure.
Yeah.
I don't know, and it's hard to even say what they're worth because appraisers will value them differently. But like anybody who's got that strategy kind of knows what's up.